YouTube, hello! Time for some comics. October was a pretty good haul. When I stopped by Heroes at the beginning of the month, a couple Turtles issues, a couple G.I. Joe issues, a whole bunch of Transformers. So it was a pretty good month. We'll start with the Turtles. First up is the regular ongoing series, issue 121. In this one, the action picks up right where it left off when the Turtles and all their apprentices, or whatever you want to call them, raided the Mutanimals base after they put a hit out on Sally Pride during her rally and her speech for mayor and all that stuff, and they had just finally tracked down Hob, and so it picks up from there. Raphael and Mona Lisa chase Hob throughout the Mutanimals base and eventually come to blows, and Raph sticks a sai, I think, through his shoulder and pins him to the wall, and they finally bring him in. In the meantime, Sally Pride confronts, is it Man Ray? Or Hobbs' second in command, the guy who actually, Hob didn't order the hit on the Turtles and the rally and Sally Pride and stuff like that. It was his second in command, Man Ray. Is it Man Ray? I can't remember who it is. Blue looking guy. So Sally confronts him and says, like, you put a hit out on me? Like, we used to be friends. Like, what the hell, right? So she confronts him. They have a chat. This is wartime, whatever he says. And then in the end, the Turtles kind of lock Hob up in a cage, and Man Ray up in a cage, and they say, and he's like, well, you guys preach all this whatever, and then you lock me up in the cage like an animal. And they're like, well, what the hell do you want us to do? You're a maniac. You're Mutanimals. You guys are all maniacs. In the end, though, he's like, yeah, I'll get out. And the little badgers, or whatever they are, who he kind of raised before the Turtles took them over, you see them enter the room where they're trapped in the cages right at the end of the issue, like they're going to free him. So we'll see if they still have some loyalty towards Hob, and if they do indeed free him from his imprisonment. So next up, issue 4 of The Last Ronin. This is the second last issue. The next issue will be the last. In this one, it starts off with Michelangelo, the last Ronin, and April's daughter Casey and her team of warriors as they're staging an assault on some sort of facility that we don't know yet. And during this fight, there's some Michelangelo has some flashbacks. First to when he first took Casey on as kind of an apprentice to train her and stuff like that, and how April felt about it, and how it was kind of just what Casey needed at the time. And April revealed the secret during this flashback of how April and Casey Jones's prolonged exposure to the Turtles and Splinter, some of the mutagen had kind of osmosis into them, and when they had a child, Casey, their daughter, she was born with not mutant genes or whatever, but she had heightened strength, speed, healing powers and stuff. That's what makes her so different. And then it goes to another flashback of when Michelangelo headed to Japan to catch up with his with Master Splinter and Donatello, who had gone to broker a peace treaty between them and the Foot Clan, but it went sideways, and that's when both Splinter and Donatello died in that battle. So Michelangelo showed up there and was like, no! And that's what kind of sent him off the deep end as the last of his kind, the last Ronin sort of thing. So going back to the present time, we find out that this raid being staged is actually on Baxter Stockman's facility out on an island in New York, and they eventually succeed and use the Fugitoid head to further their aims in this battle. And in the end, their victory on this island at Baxter's facility just destroys Baxter Stockman, and also destroys the network of the bad guy Hiroki, or whatever his name is, all of his footbots and all that stuff, all of his sentries and goons or whatever. They all go down. The network goes down, so he's kind of left a lot more defenseless than he normally would be, and that's how the issue ends, and that's how we're setting up the big finale for this pretty cool series. Next up, we got our big batch of Transformers, and we'll dive right in. First up, issue 8 of the Beast Wars series that's going on now. In this one, Black Arachnia had just fallen from the sky in that drone, or that pod or whatever it is, and raided the Maximal's base and subdued Cheetor as he was walking down the hallway after leaving a game of poker or whatever that the Maximals were playing. And eventually Optimus Prime will notice that, like, he's been gone too long. So the Maximals all go to search for him, find him all webbed up, and go, what the hell? And he's like, this crazy chick is here. And so the whole base is put on alert. They're searching for her. In the meantime, she's on their computer trying to download some information and also program all the other pods in the sky up in the atmosphere to all fall down to the planet and be released. And I think the thing is that a lot of them have been reprogrammed to be Decepticons or Predacons, I guess. And so they don't know which ones are going to be Predacons, which ones are going to be Maximals until they actually confront these bots and find out, right? So eventually Rhinox finds her and she flees the Maximal ship, and they Cheetor and the rest of the Maximals follow, and they get in a fight with her. She escapes and makes it back to the Predacon base, their ship, and she confronts Tarantulas, I think it is, who was the one who he claims that she's his prize or his whatever, and she's like, oh, I don't think so. And that's kind of how it ends off, as she's kind of in their ship aligning herself with those Predacons. Next up, issue 2 of the Shattered Glass sub-series. This is the one where Blur was the bounty hunter and he tried to confront Starscream, but Starscream got the better of him in the last issue. So picking up where that left off, Starscream finally tracks down Megatron, who's wandering a wasteland and just wants to stay unnoticed and stuff. And Starscream confronts him and says, we need you. The Decepticons need you as our leader again. And Megatron's like, look where it got us before. And so then it goes into all these flashbacks of how Megatron and Optimus Prime, when they were both, you know, he was a gladiator, Prime was a librarian, whatever it was, first confronted each other and had these different ideals about where the race of Transformers should be going, and all the history behind them that led up to the war between the two factions, and what caused everything to end up the way it is now at this point. But during these flashbacks, you get the hint, that the feeling that this is kind of an alternate reality of Transformers, where the Autobots were actually the aggressors and more of the bad guys, and the Decepticons were more the good guys. And everybody's color schemes is a little bit different. Like Prowl is like blue, green, and white. Prime is like purple and stuff. So it's almost like an alternate verse of Transformers where everything looks a little different, the action all went a little different, the story's different, that sort of thing. So in the end, Starscream, he battles really hard to get Megatron to come back on board, and Megatron's still not having any of it. And then at the very end of the issue, Starscream drops a bomb that, oh, but what if we can bring back some Titans to help us in our endeavors? And that grabs Megatron's interest, because Titans are called Titans for a reason, right? They big. Next up, issue 35 of the regular ongoing Transformers series. This one's just pretty much just a pretty easy action issue. If you remember correctly, Termagax was in her kind of mobile command base or whatever, and I forget who it is. Who was it? Wheeljack and somebody had gone to confront her about the Matrix, not the Matrix, the Enigma combination, and how that would really help the Autobots in their fight against the Decepticons, but she's not really having any of it. But the Insecticon swarm had attacked. Shockwave had them attack Termagax's base, and the Autobot reinforcements had just arrived with Skylinks and stuff like that. Well, all the rest of the Autobots are arriving as backup, and the Decepticons throw everything they've got at them, including Six Shot and characters like that. So the whole issue is just a battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons over Termagax's possession of the Enigma. And right at the end of the issue, Termagax releases a bit of a surprise when she drops a horde of Termagax drones, I guess, into the battle and stuff like that, which will, I'm assuming, turn the tide towards the Autobots' favor, I would figure. But I guess we won't know for sure until the next issue hits. Last up, Transformers Halloween. Obviously, an October-themed issue of Halloween. In this one, it's kind of a one-off weird kind of thing, I think, but Starscream is walking by Megatron's command room or whatever, and excuse me, he eavesdrops on Megatron and Six Shot having a conversation where Megatron's like, I'm gonna have Starscream lead this next mission. It doesn't say what it is, it's just they're talking about a mission, and Six Shot's well like, well, wait, slow your roll. I'm not so sure about Starscream. He seems weird and unreliable and prone to outbursts and all that stuff. I don't think you should give it to him. I think you should give it to somebody else. So eventually Megatron kind of relents, and Starscream gets all pissed off overhearing this, so he's like, I'm gonna go out and do something really awesome that's gonna convince Megatron that, you know, I'm not what Six Shot says I am, and he'll give me the assignment, right? So he's leaving the base or whatever, and a couple Decepticons come running in, all terrified. It actually looked like Runabuck and Runabout and Runamuck. I'm getting my M's and my B's all transposed here. But and he's like, what the hell's going on? And they're like, we were just out at that place where that disembodied voice comes out from that cave, and we're terrified or whatever. So Starscream's like, I'm gonna go check this out. This could be my opportunity to do something special, right? So he investigates this cave, and once he gets into it, he finds this, what he calls an ape, which this biological creature that looks human-ish, but is obviously more primate in nature. And Starscream goes to confront it or whatever, and they touch, and he touches this cable that's attached to this creature, and he ends up being, his essence transported inside this creature. And he's like, what the hell is going on? So his body's just lying outside in a crumpled heap as his spark is inside the creature. And when he's traveling inside this creature's body, he finds a Decepticon that nobody really knew what happened to, named Cryak or something like that. Nobody I'm familiar with. And Starscream's like, Cryak, it's great to see you. We didn't know what happened to you, whatever. And then so Cryak tells him the story of how he went out to lay down and release his spark back into Cybertron, but he came kind of fused with this primate creature. And during all of his kind of time inside this creature on his own, he's come up with some thoughts, and he now wants to get back out of this creature and pursue these thoughts and put them into action. And to do so, he's going to steal Starscream's body. So the battle erupts inside of this primate between the two Transformers to see who's going to gain freedom and gain Starscream's body. Will it be Cryak inheriting a new body, or will Starscream get his original body back and defeat this, who he thought was a friend, but who has now obviously gone off the deep end? So just a little bit of a Halloween-ish twist on a Transformers story that was kind of a neat little one-off. Last up, as usual, is the G.I. Joe stuff. The only two issues this time. First, the regular ongoing, number 286 is the latest one. And in this one, it's just kind of it's like just a bit of a backstory on the history between Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. And it's being told from the aspect of a senior Joe who was in Vietnam with Snake Eyes a long time ago. A long time ago right now, but when G.I. Joe was actually in the 80s. It wouldn't have been that long ago, right? But just how Snake Eyes was a really quiet guy who didn't really bond with the other troops in his platoon and stuff like that until on a mission, or one day a helicopter came in with a bunch of injuries and most of the guys died, and a guy named Tommy was the only survivor, and Tommy is Storm Shadow. And so Storm Shadow was kind of absorbed into their platoon, and he was able to bring Snake Eyes out of his shell, get him to talk a bit more, get him to join in a bit more, but he was always still a bit on the fringes, a bit of an outsider. And then towards the end of the issue, Tommy brings him out so much that Snake Eyes actually finally says something during I can't remember what they were doing, but he actually says a line, and the whole platoon's like, the F? Did Snake Eyes just say something, right? So, and then just kind of how that whole history of Snake Eyes and being a G.I. Joe and his, because he is a quiet guy, he doesn't say anything, right? So just kind of how his maybe origins kind of were in the G.I. Joe unit, which was pretty cool. So not really much to push along the whole storyline that's going on right now with that. It's kind of one of those kind of weird one-offs where they just kind of delve into a backstory, maybe as they're thinking of where the story's going next. I don't know, but yeah, it didn't really have much to do with the ongoing action right now. So last, the third annual yearbook issue that's been released over the last little while, and it follows the same format as all the rest of them did. It's got like pages taken from old G.I. Joe comics, and then it's pretty much the exact same format. More history on the Joe's TV show, which was friggin' amazing back in the day. Nice to see how it all kind of came together and stuff. Some artwork on some Joes, Lady J there, Mindbender, Serpentor. There's kind of a summary of a bunch of issues and how the storyline all unfolded over all those issues. And then I think there was just a bit more, some more kind of excerpts from other issues, and then just a bunch more artwork, some Dreadnought stuff, and Hawk, and then a little memo from Hawk, and then just some cover shots and stuff like that. So not much I haven't already, because I have most of those old issues, so it's not anything new to me. So I don't know why I get the yearbooks, but at the same time, I like to have them, kind of thing. But I am familiar with pretty much everything that's in there already. So, anyways, that is October's Comics haul. I will be going back to Heroes in early November to get whatever's going to be in my bin next, and I will be back, of course, in mid to late November to report on that. So we will see you then.